everybody for joining us for the May meeting of the Portland Industrial Commission. I think we have a fairly short agenda this morning, so we'll get right to it and try to knock it out. May we have a roll call?
Mr. Barham?
Here.
Mr. Bento?
Here.
Ms. Rudisil?
Here.
Mr. Toops?
Here.
Mr. Wallace is absent. Captain Watkins?
Hey.
Mr. Varner's absent. You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. And by the way, I'd like to re-welcome Ms. Kaler as our acting assistant secretary. Appreciate you stepping in for us. Move right into the minutes from the April meeting. The minutes were forwarded electronically to everyone. I presume everyone's had a chance to read them. I'll open the meeting for any discussion if there is any. Otherwise, I'll ask for a motion to accept the minutes as they've been presented.
Second.
Okay, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Very well, thank you. All right, financials, Ms. Lane, anything to report for us on that?
Well, the only expense that you've had this month, which is on page 2, would be your audit fees that went out, and that's under your contractual services. And the other point to address that was brought up at the previous meeting that I was not here was your property held for resale balance, which is 0 on your balance sheet, and that's because although you own Burton Point property, it is currently a Superfund site, so it's impaired, and so it really has no value until the property is.
Okay, and we did ask about that in the last meeting, how that will be shown. So essentially it's ours, but it doesn't have any value. Okay.
Deed's been transferred and titles
Correct.
in your name,
Great.
which means when you sell it, it has no value now. Whatever you sell it for, you're ahead of the game.
All right, well, I guess that's good. Okay, thank you. Anything else on the financials? Any questions from anybody?
I have a question, but it can be later.
Okay, all right. That being the case, then I'll ask for a motion to have the financials accepted as has been submitted.
So moved.
Okay, anybody? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Financials are done. Okay, Ms. Kaler, you have an update on the pair properties?
Yes, and I'll ask Jeff Miller to chime in as well. I missed the planning commission meeting. I was still out on medical leave, but the PER properties did present their use permit application in May, on May 7th, and it was approved by the planning commission 7-0 with conditions. That is so that they can expand the operation that they're doing over on the former Allied site that you all sold them, and it will go before council at their 2 meetings in June, and then at the next PPIC meeting, Jeff will present a resolution so that you all can amend the deed pending council's final approval to lift the deed restriction relative to concrete facilities and that. Jeff, would you chime in?
Sure. What we've got with PR properties, we put a use agreement of record when we close with them, and they've come back and based on the list, the approved uses listed in the use agreement, they're essentially doing what they had envisioned from the very beginning, with a couple of minor changes. They had intended to have a temporary concrete production facility on the site with a related aggregate crushing operation to feed the concrete. Originally, that was intended just to allow them to build their piers, their other materials on the site. Now they're looking to have that as a permanent operation on the site. That's why they're going to council for a use permit for that. As Mallory said, past planning commission, it would come to the 2 meetings in June, the first reading the second Tuesday, and then a second reading for approval the 4th Tuesday. So assuming all goes well with council for a PERS application at the first reading, then we would probably be coming back the 4th Tuesday, your meeting in the morning, to bless changing the use agreement to allow permanent concrete and aggregate operation as opposed to just temporary.
And we are assuming all will go well with council, you say?
Haven't had any indication to the contrary. They have had, as part of the use permit process, the main concern was the Navy facility there. They've been in touch with the Navy. The Navy submitted a number of issues that they wanted to be addressed, and PR Properties has agreed to address all those issues as part of the use permit application.
Okay. All right, good, well, hopefully then that will move forward. Look forward to hearing about that in the June.
So you don't think those requirements in the Navy are stumbling block then?
No.
They've, as Jeff said, they've agreed, and it was in the use permit application that planning saw on May 7th, that they would honor all the requests from the Navy.
Could be too much.
Right, yeah, the Navy sent a letter, said here are 6 or 7 things we'd like to see addressed, and no one saw an issue with doing that.
With some of the past history, council, I know concrete plants
Mhm.
and that, do we need to have someone there or any preparation so that if it comes up, we can be of assistance? I'm not saying it will come up, but, I just know, I'm not sure which one, but there's some
right.
that have had some skepticism or hesitancy on concrete. And so that's part of what they're amending it for. And I'm just trying to be proactive and make sure that we anticipate versus,
Especially since, fortunately, you were at the council
I could
meeting
just see it
2 or
come
3
up
months
again.
ago when the bonds came up, and while
Right.
staff was there was not a member of the commission officially there to represent you all. And fortunately, Mr. Toops stepped up and
accident.
addressed that as it related to the
Yes.
YMCA bonds. And I'll just add, and Jeff can add, on the concrete piece, the council actually had to go back and amend a section of code to even allow the concrete facilities anywhere, so they
So it's
have
kind of
had
already
to
come up.
take a position on it. But you're right, that there may want to be some consideration to have a
certainly-
representative of the
Yeah, I
commission,
certainly think we
not
should
just
have
staff.
somebody there, anybody.
Do you have a list of the concerns of the Navy?
Yes, mhm,
Is there any way we could get a copy of that?
absolutely.
So,
I can circulate this electronically, it's the entire use permit application, and point to what page those are on.
How about just send us the page they're on?
Mm-hmm. 56 pages?
Yes, 56 pages.
Jim, you bring up a good point, and I don't think we will, I'll be there or someone.
just someone, and I mean, I'll volunteer if you want, but just so that if it comes up, it can be addressed.
I'm gonna sit behind you. Okay, and that meeting would be, I don't keep up with the dates of
June
council
9th
meeting.
and June 23rd.
All right,
Both.
June 9th is the planning session, or executive
June
session?
9th is the first council meeting at 7 p.m.
Okay, all right.
The second one would be June 23rd,
Okay.
again, 7 p.m.
And this will come up in both of those meetings?
The first meeting is sort of the public hearing, that's the discussion. The second is the
Okay.
consent agenda from the
Okay.
manager's
I got
office.
you, okay, that's fine.
So
All
the
right,
9th is-
You'll be able to tell after the first meeting, if there's gonna be a need to come back for the second.
Right.
If you come for the June 9th meeting, that's most important.
if there is any hesitancy on this, I'll be
7 p.m.
very disappointed, let's put it that way. After everything we've been through already, hopefully we can
But
move
just,
forward.
but just information in that to kind of address it straight up, and then it probably would go back for a bid.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'll make sure, I'll be talking with you and all you guys and make sure we've got somebody there. If I'm not available for some reason, I'll let everybody know, but I'll try to be there for that. Okay, any new business? Russell, great to have you here. Any news from the Port Authority, anything we need to hear about?
Just briefly, business continues to be very strong. March and April were the biggest months ever. And at our most recent board meeting, earmarked $123 million in the budget for fiscal 16 for more equipment, chassis, top loaders, projects including some paving going on right now at Virginia International Gateway to really move the rail boxes out of the stack to try to reduce turn times further.
Right.
So-
Okay.
Efforts to get things flowing smoother.
Try to clean up the congestion.
Right.
Okay.
So which 3 lines do you have calling Portsmouth now, Russell?
At Portsmouth Marine Terminal,
PMT, yeah.
there's a ZIM service, there is an small MSC service, and I'd have to, I don't know. I'll
That's
get back
okay.
to you. There's a couple new services coming too, so there's some things moving around.
Okay,
No, I looked for any general cargo coming in there.
General cargo into Portsmouth, not yet. Not until we get some of the relief at the other terminals to get some of the containers off there. It is full on containers, as you know.
How many containers you got at PMT just sitting on? the dock?
Well, I don't know. When we reopened it, we were looking at handling 100,000 a year through there. It's much more than that as far as the capacity at this
I'm
point.
talking about the empty ones on the dock.
Oh, empty? Oh.
Gotta be 20,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say 17 or 18. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Well, for what it's worth, I had brought up that situation about all the empties there. As you come through the Midtown Tunnel, and you just are in this mountain of empty containers.
The tunnel continues, right?
Yeah, and I'm hopeful that one day we will see some relief of all that.
Right, and we're trying to encourage the carriers to get that out of there by putting penalties on storage and things like that.
Mhm. Okay,
Encourage it that
so
way.
you're aware of it, that's the main
Oh,
thing.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That's a
It's
challenge.
something that people bring to my attention from time to time, so I need to say that we're.
Everybody wants to know what's in them. I said, potential cargo.
Yeah.
Potential cargo.
Potential cargo, exactly.
Absolutely.
Where is Zim coming out of?
Zim,
Mhm.
that service is,
I know it's his rep, but,
it's
Where
it's
it's
an
coming.
Asia service through the Suez, I believe. I don't know exactly from what point, last port of call to us.
just some cargo in Turkey that we might need.
All right. Well, there's services, I'll let you know on that.
What's the latest on the Panama Canal finishing, Russell?
It's projected for April, I believe, of 2016.
April 2016, that's about 2 years late, right?
Correct.
Yep.
They're already talking about a new expansion starting right after that.
Oh, the Panama Canal?
Right.
Okay.
Because when it's complete, it will handle ships up to like 14,000
Mhm.
TEUs, and those ships keep getting bigger all the time. So now there's 18 and 19,000 TEU ships out there, and 20 on the order being built. And so in one sense, it's obsolete, at least as far, the canal is when it gets completed, even as far as the biggest ships that are out
So, yeah, it's obsolete already.
there.
Yep.
I have a difficult time when they say that it can only handle a 14,000 TEU ship. Well, the length is supposed to be, I'm missing it, 1,400 feet long. Ships can be 1,400 feet long and 175 feet wide.
Mhm.
Why don't they say that's the parameter rather than 14,000 ton? 14,000.
Well, and it's an estimate nonetheless, because one thing you read is 12.5, and then you hear 13, and then 14.5. So it depends on the configuration of the ship,
Right.
as far as what it's holding or what the carriers are willing to put on it, the number they're willing to put on it.
But the canal would handle those dimensions, 1,400
Right,
feet by
right,
175
right.
by, was it 50 or 55 feet? I'm not sure what
Right.
the depth is. I mean, if I had a ship going through there, I wouldn't care how many boxes I had on there, as long as you fit in the hole.
That's
Exactly.
exactly right.
Right.
That's important.
Yeah.
It's better marketing saying how many containers you're coming or going, as opposed to, then we have to do all the,
Yeah.
Marine architecture
as
to
you and I
figure out.
both know, there's a big race. Which company can build the biggest container ship?
right,
And I think the latest one has 20,400.
right.
Hyundai built one.
Right. I can't even keep the slides up to date on what the
No,
biggest
you
ship
cannot.
is, so.
Mhm.
And the largest that calls on,
9,200 TEUs on the East Coast or here.
okay.
And the thing that's happening here is they're loading heavy because we actually do more exports than imports. Nobody thinks about that. But heavy on the agriculture commodities exports. So when we talk about that 50-foot channel, they're loading heavy to be last poured out and taking pretty much all of that 50 feet all the way up.
Well, that's good for us.
That's a good thing, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, very well. So, yeah, Russell, I always appreciate the update, and thank you for coming over.
Appreciate it.
Any, excuse me, any other new business? Ken Watkins, you said you had a question
I
on
did,
finance.
and maybe it's a little premature for our new interim director, but But at the last time we met, we were told that consider a study to speed the growth of, which includes Portsmouth Terminal. Anything been done to that?
No, I got back from medical leave 10 days ago and immediately went to the ICSC conference and was back in the office last Thursday and Friday. So started working on it, Brandon and I discussed it Friday afternoon.
I'd actually said, let's not even have it on the agenda until we actually do have some kind of concrete plans on it. See which way we're going.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Just to see what the budget's established.
right. See which way we go on that.
Definitely have some progress for you all over the next 2
Well,
or
would
3
it be
weeks.
okay if either Ned or I sat in, or Jim sat in on your meetings?
Of course.
Just a preliminary talking? That's it.
We can do that. All right, very well. I presume we have nothing for a closed session. And I don't have anything further. Anyone else have anything for the good of the cause? Well, if that's so, after 22 minutes, we're adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate you all coming. Short and sweet.